Hey, it's Courier Girl, and today I'm going to start the very first video in a series that I'm going to do on how to get into the courier business. I've had a lot of people ask me about that, and I was going to do like one video on how to do it, but then I thought that wouldn't really be fair to you because in one video, unless it's like 2 hours long, you can really just touch on things on the surface, and I want to get a little bit more in depth to really help you have the tools you need to make a great decision about whether to get into this business or not. And then to give you some tips on how to go about that. So in this first video, I thought we should talk about location because there are different locations in the country that are great for couriers and then others that aren't so great for couriers. And before you take all the time and effort to figure out how to get into this business, you got to find out if you are in a good spot for it. So generally speaking, if you're in a big city, you're going to be fine. So this video isn't really going to help you very much. If you are in a mid-sized city to smaller city to maybe little teeny town or a very rural area, then there could be a question about whether there's really enough business to support you, because if you want to do this as a career, then you need to have enough business to keep you busy, right? And you don't want to always be scraping and having to work really hard just to get a few little jobs. You want a place where the jobs are already there and then you can just connect, plug in and then start getting some of them. So that's what we're going to do today. Location research. All right, let's get right to it. We're going to go over to Google, and what we're going to do is search courier delivery services in, and then you're going to put your town. And I went ahead and did one for Cincinnati because that's where I'm at. I did courier delivery services, Cincinnati, Ohio. And I would put your city and state because there's a lot of duplicate and triplicate in everything city names in different states. So these are all ads at the top. I kind of go past the ads at first. I kind of will glance at them, but then I'll go past. And then I'll look at the maps. So, and this is a Google search on Chrome. So if you're using a different browser or a different search engine, it might come up different for you. So we're going to do view all. I'm going to open it in a new tab so we don't mess up our search. And this is showing all of the, or most of the major ones. And if you can look at here, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13 red little bubbles and a couple green little bubbles. And this is just in the greater Cincinnati area. This isn't really huge, this 275 loop. You could go outside of that and get a whole bunch more. Unless I redo this search, it may not show. But, you can get all the way up to Dayton pretty quickly. Dayton's like an hour to an hour and a half from here. So you can do searches in the broader area or just in the city, which is what I'm doing. All right, so let's go past the ads. And as you can see, these have local offices. And that doesn't really mean that they're a local company, although most of them with local offices are. But you're also going to find some national and regional companies as you go, and they're not going to have local offices. So this is all local offices. They're courier services. This is a trucking company, courier services, and it's really interesting to me that the company that I work for isn't even on this list. So you're probably going to have, in addition to the ones that know how to get found on Google, which is how you get into the search result, there's probably more of them that aren't even listed. So if you're seeing this many courier services, there's probably plenty of business in your area. The next thing that you can do is go down a little bit. You're going to see some reviews like 10 best couriers and delivery services in Cincinnati. You're going to see websites for some of the ones that were listed up on the maps. But the maps is really the really easy and quick way to tell if there's going to be some kind of courier services in your area. Now, they're probably going to be all mixed together. Trucking companies, courier services, companies that only cater to one, major business and things like that. So, and you can also see questions that people ask, and if you want, you can start looking at the answers to the questions and you can get some good information, like some more information. Like, be a detective here. Keep looking for more things. So the other thing that I would do is look at some of the websites. Like, let's just pick one of them. Just pick the first one after the ads. And you can tell from their websites, they do 1 hour or less courier services. They're in downtown. They're probably doing a lot of downtown work. Russian Express. And they do routes and they do scheduled deliveries. And they also have fleets. Now, this doesn't mean that they're their own trucks. They maybe are and maybe aren't. And you can see some of the things they do. Package delivery, medical, legal, same-day freight, that's bigger truck, like box trucks, routes and scheduled deliveries, inter-office and mail runs, passport, perishables, that's like groceries, and just goes on and on and on about the different things that they do. And you can read some of the stuff on people's websites, and that will give you an idea of the different types of courier services in your area, and also like what certain companies specialize in. Like, for instance, some only do medical, some only do legal, some only do like small package delivery, some only do like a box truck delivery, some do like court type stuff. So there's a lot of catch-all ones like this one, and I don't have any affiliation with this company at all. I didn't even hear of them until I just did the search. So don't think that this is one that I work for, because it's not. I just wanted to give you an idea. So kind of go through, look at a few of the websites to get an idea of the different types of services that people are doing. Start a document, like a blank document, or bookmark certain sites, because later on when you're starting to look for work, you'll already have some of your research done if you have these sites saved. And I like to do it on a document, because I'll put the link to, like I would put, let's say the link to this one on a Word document. And that's too big, isn't it? Let's make it a little bit smaller. And then I would just like write some notes under it. Medical, legal, I don't know, what were some of the other ones that they did? Packages, just to make like kind of a cheat sheet, so that later on when you're doing some more research into what you want to do specifically, you can go back and look at your notes, and then it's easier like to eliminate the ones that don't make sense to you and then decide which ones you want to call. But at least make a list of these websites, because then part of your research will be done. All right, now I'm going to look at a small town. And I chose a small town in Iowa that has about 1,500 people in it. And it says 1,500 at the 2010 census. So Manning, Iowa is right here. And if you look at the map, let's go up again, you see that it's a little teeny town, and then there's Denison and Carroll, which look a little bit bigger because they're little white things, you know, blurbs are bigger. Sioux City is like the next biggest city or bigger city. See what their population is. 82,000. So 82,000 is probably going to have some courier business. But Sioux City is pretty far away from Manning. So and you can just type this in to see how many miles it is. So it's like 1 hour, 46 minutes. So it's like 2 hours. And this is one thing that you need to think about if you want to do courier work. If you live in a little teeny town and the next biggest town that's going to have some decent business is a couple hours away, then you got to think, do I want to drive 2 hours to work and then drive all day for work, sometimes 12 hours a day, and then drive 2 hours home? And probably the answer is going to be no. It's different if you're driving a long distance, like an hour to 2 hours, and then you're going to like a location and working at that location all day, than if you're getting in your car and driving after driving to work. So that's something to think about. So what I would do is if I was in a small town, I would look at the towns around and see if there's anything that's less than an hour away, preferably less than 30 minutes away, that you think that there's courier business in. And like, let's look at Denison, Iowa. Denison. Population of Denison, 8,300. So that's almost 10,000. So maybe if you do Denison and then Carroll and then a few other surrounding areas, you might have more luck. But in a small town of 1,500, there's probably not a whole lot of local courier business. So that's something to think about. The other thing you could do is put in your county. So let's see. What county is Manning, Iowa in? So, I mean, if you live there, you would obviously know that. So, population of Carroll County, Iowa. So you could also do it by county. So that's 20,000. That's getting to be a little bit more. So maybe if you go to Carroll County, you'll be able to find something versus Manning. So think about this if you're in a really small town. What's your county? What's your surrounding area? What are the next biggest towns? Do you really want to drive a couple hours to work if that's what it's going to take? These are things to look at. So we're going to do courier delivery services in Manning, Iowa. And then we're also going to do courier delivery services in Carroll County, Iowa. All right, so let's look at Manning first. We can close all these because we don't need these anymore. So we got a couple ads: local same-day delivery, fast. And look, we're still getting 513 is a Cincinnati area code, so the ads can be deceiving because they're going to look in my area, not in this area. So look at the delivery services available on the map. You have the post office, which isn't really what we're looking for, a trucking company, a trucking company, a trucking company, Western Union, which isn't what we're talking about, trucking company, trucking company, trucking company, funeral home, interesting. So you can see that everything here pretty much is a trucking company. There is one, RJ Delivery Incorporated. Let's open them in a new window. All right. And What did that say? RJ Delivery. And see, they're in Omaha. Now, Omaha is not what we're talking about here, although Nebraska is pretty close to Iowa, so it could be that this is Kansas, this is Minneapolis. See, it's not too far from Nebraska, but if you look at this, Omaha's pretty far away. So the one that they're showing us is pretty far away, and that means that there aren't probably any local companies at all. And if you zoom in on this map, you're going to see, if you look through all these, they're probably going to be mostly like trucking companies. There might be a couple, but not that many. So I can't even find the town that I was looking for before. Is this it? Maybe Manning? Anyway, as you can see, there doesn't look like there's a lot of business, and when you did find a courier company, it was pretty far away. So that's why another reason it's important to look at some of the websites, because you're going to find that some of them say they're local, but they're 1 to 2 hours away. Like even on a Cincinnati search, if I go down far enough, I'm going to find Dayton, Columbus, Indianapolis, other cities that are nearby. All right. And when we get into looking for actual jobs, that may not be a bad thing sometimes, because I could look at a courier service in Columbus that runs normally to Cincinnati, and they may be looking for a Cincinnati driver to make that run back and forth. You don't know. But when you're researching if there's business in your town and you're in a small town, this is stuff that's really important. So unfortunately in Manning, Iowa, unless you want to get into trucking, which is different really than what we're talking about here, there's not going to be a whole lot. Now you'll see things like delivery courier jobs. This is like a national job website. This is for FedEx. Courier Brokers is probably another website, and it says right here, oh, I thought I saw it before where it said all over the country. Iowa Courier Service, that could be the whole state, but maybe there's some things. So if you're in a small town like this, it's going to be a lot harder to find easy work. Not saying it can't be done, but that is something to think about. So just to kind of sum up, I want you to think about your location, think about whether you're in a big city or a small town, do the Google searches, make some notes, and then be realistic. Is this something that I can do in my small town if I'm in a small town and if there's no bigger populations around? Now, maybe it is. Maybe you're going to be the first one to start a courier service. Who knows? But usually, if there aren't any already, there's a reason for that. People probably tried and it just didn't work because there just wasn't the business. So anyway, that's it for now. This first video on how to get into the courier business, and we're talking about whether your location is even right for the courier business. Okay, I'm going to go. I've got deliveries to do. This is Maria signing out, and I will see you on the road.